Okay, my dear friends, since tonight is designated for the memorial for the soldiers in Eretz Israel, also we have the Yortzeit tonight of, what's the name? The Yortzeit. Liba Bas Label. So therefore I would like to just share an interesting halacha that has to do with Beis Iyar. As you know, we said today in the morning that today is the birthday of the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he lived he didn't live long. He lived a very short life, maybe 52. And he was very, everything by him was like, everything was fast. There was no wasting time. But one time he went out of his way and he traveled from Russia, Lubavitch, to France, to Paris. And he traveled and traveled, and he got to Paris and he asked that he stay in a hotel, but they had different class, like high class, low class, that he wanted to be in the highest expensive room. But in the hotel itself, the highest level. So they brought him to the room there. In France, what year was? He was a Rebbe from 1901 maybe to 1880 to 1901. So somewhere between the late 1800s. So he went in the hotel. He was in the best accommodation. During the night, he left the room and he went to the place where they have like a bar and people play different kinds of games, chess or whatever games they play. He goes inside and there was one Jew there in the whole place. And the Jew's playing, whatever he's playing, a game with his friends there. And the Rebbe walks into the room and he looks at the Jew and he puts his hand on his heart. He says, Rab Yid, Yayin Nesach is mentamtem haleva amoyach. Yayin Nesach means wine that's not kosher, stuffs your heart and your mind. And he left the room. A few minutes later, he came again into the room. He said, Rab Yid, Yayin Nesach is metamtem haleva amoyach. And he left. He went back into his room. Like an hour or two later, he gets a knock on the door. It's that Jew that was playing whatever games they were playing. And they sat there for a whole night and they spoke and no one knows what went on. And then the Rebbe traveled right back to the city Lubavitch from Paris. So it was and the Rebbe told his son that for many, many generations, there wasn't such a high soul, a Jewish soul that was in this world that was trapped in negativity. He was trapped in his desires, and the Rebbe made this whole travel in order to get the soul away from and guess what? The Jew did tshuva, and he moved back to Europe, to that part of Europe. And now the family lives in Israel. They have great-great-grandchildren. And the story ended off in a good moment. But here you see that the Rebbe made a whole trip for, who knows, a week. I don't know how long it took from Russia to France. It took a while in order to be able to get one Jew that was sitting in some bar and that his soul was never trapped, to be able to retrieve him from his negative influence, to get him out of this desire and hope. My dear friends, many of the soldiers, I just heard from Rabbi Slonim, his brother was killed in 1956 on the way going to Hebron when they had the problems with the Peduims. Peduims were Arabs that used to come hide in the bushes. In the middle of the night, they used to come and kill Jews. In Kfar Chabad, they killed a whole group and all over. So they decided one time, the army, to go clean them out. and his brother with a whole group of soldiers under Ariel Sharon then, Arik Sharon, and 9 soldiers of his group were killed. And he was shot in his cheek. He went off the field for a few minutes to put on something on his cheek, and he went back to fight till they shot him dead. But as he went back to fight, he killed another 3 Arabs. So he says he couldn't understand his brother. His brother was already wounded that a few minutes before, but he didn't want to give up to go able to kill these chayas. And this was on the way to Hebron, right, entering the Hebron, which the family of Slonim were killed, who knows how many, by the pogroms in 1929, when the Arabs slaughtered all the Jews in Hebron, which Slonim family, they were the main Jewish leaders in Hebron, and they had partnerships in the bank and so on. So the point that I'm bringing out is that every soldier that went to fight, he didn't just fight to do us a favor. He was ready to give his life, even to go get one more enemy away from the Jewish people. Even though he was wounded, they're ready to go. So Hashem should pray that all these soldiers that were killed for saving the Jewish nation and saving the Jewish world should pray for Am Yisrael that we shouldn't have to go through this anymore, and that we should be able to have a safe and secure land of Eretz Yisrael, and safe and security in the whole world, and we should only have happiness in a revealed way for everyone with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meira b'yameinu amen.
Amen.
Rabbi Hananya ben